Hello everybody, welcome to 2026 and welcome to Sonic Lab. Today we're having a little bit of a patch flip because Absynth 6 came out towards the end of last year. I was hoping to get something before Christmas, didn't get round to it. So here we are. Absynth is a bit of a legendary software synthesizer. It was kind of one of the most creative and unusual and flexible synths of its time. It was dropped, unfortunately, by Native Instruments about 8 years ago. And since then, I mean, still be working. Absynth 5 has still been there. You could still use it. But they've got together with Brian Clevenger, who was the original creator, and they've reworked the UA and added a few new features. So we now have a kind of up-to-date Absynth 6. Here it is. This is the patch interface. For just a quick recap, we've got 3 oscillators, or 3 sort of almost discrete channels, each with various elements on them. We've got oscillator with multiple oscillator types and different kinds of unison and different modulations and whatnot. That then goes into a filter which has legacy. There's the legacy filters, and there's some new filter types, and then there's various different aspects for mix. Then that goes into a wave shaper or another filter. You can add a module. I think we've got a ring modulator here somewhere. Yeah, there's another module, and then that fruit, and we've got the same rinse and repeat times 3. There are also additional wave shapers here. So there's a lot of shaping and kind of wave modulation that goes on with the synth. And that's kind of what it was remembered for, I suppose, the real kind of complexity of the oscillator. The other thing it was mentioned for a lot was the interface was a little bit impenetrable. It was kind of, I guess, of its time, and probably as it got to the end of its life in version 5, it needed a bit of a major rework, and they've kind of done that to a degree here. We've got multiple pages. We've got the patch page, we've got the effects page, and some new effects, multi-comb, a resonator, and called an etherizer, which is like a cloud type reverb type thing. I can't really and surround as well. Etherizer sounds a bit medical, doesn't it? I've also got a custom wave, so we can add our own waves and draw those in. We've got envelopes, which they're more like function generators, really. They're loopable. You could draw all sorts of curves in. Also 3 LFOs and assignable MIDI controls, which is where we'll get onto that a little bit later. You can see up here there are up to 4 outputs, so you can run this in surround, which is, if we go back to here, you can see there is actually a surround modulator and mover, and you can automate that stuff, so you can get some pretty complex stuff. A lot of people were using it really as a sound design tool. It was perhaps less about kind of big bassline riffs and all that, but it can do that sort of thing, and more about complex stuff. They've got a whole load of new patches and also a new preset explorer, which if I go to sort of everything, you can see this reminds me a little bit of like a sample explorer. So I'll just press a few buttons and we can listen to some random patches. There's some complex stuff. I'll remove that because it's not so much of a use for me. The way I've got this set up is I'm just using polyphonic aftertouch keyboard, which is the CME. And I'm also using a little fun fact. I'm using the L6. This is the L6 Max. But what you can do is all of the knobs and parameters can output MIDI control. So what I've done is I've mapped these to the macros, which is handy. There are actually 16 sets of macros. I guess with NKS support, you can take full advantage of those if you've got that sort of hardware as well. But let's get into some flipping. So let's start. What I did is let's start with, we'll go to Absynth 6 because these are new patches for these. I'm just going to press the starred ones I've got. There's some big names here. I'll start with Amnesia. This is patch 1. As you can hear, you can audition them. I have to remember to hit return. So here's a synth pad. Got some mods going on. Let's have a look what's going on. It's quite simple, this one. See what's going on with the effects. We're using the etherizer. And it's nice in the library browser. We've got the ability to sort of tweak a lot of these. And also we can mutate. This is another feature. Well, that's quite nice. That's quite nice, actually, isn't it? Can radically shift a lot of these sounds. So with those little mutates, and we can also say which modules perhaps we don't want to mutate. So it's kind of an interesting idea. It's like mutating, but with parameters. Anyway, some really big names they've got here with the patch design. Caitlin Aurelia Smith, let's see what she's up to. Making that preset stereo. A lot of macro mapping. In fact, if we go to the assign, we can see that there are quite a lot of additional parameters just on these macros. All 16 of them, and we can assign velocity and mod wheel and aftertouch. I've got a poly aftertouch keyboard here, and I was sort of hoping that there'd be... It doesn't seem like there's a lot going on that one, but maybe there'll be on some other ones. Let's go back to the browser. Antonio Blanca bass tape. Let's have a listen to this one. This is a mono voice. It sounds like there's quite a lot going on, yeah. You can see where all of these looping... So it's a sustain loop. See, there's an MPE switch here, so you can switch it into MPE mode. I haven't hooked this up with MPE, I just wanted to... Quite nice. I wonder what this would do if we went into randomize. Let's randomize this one. And you see there's actually a little mutation history, and we can save those points as well. Nice. Okay, let's have a look at another one. Jörg Hüttner, who is... he worked a lot on Nord stuff. Or was it Access Virus? He did a lot of patches for that. So let's just... Yeah, sorry, I've got to remember, I can't just select the patch. It's just one of the little foibles there. So I'm going to go there, hit return. In fact, there are a couple of things with this which are a bit... They feel like they are missing some of the sort of more modern software, you know, language of modern software. Most notably things like being able to just right click and maybe MIDI map that sort of parameter. I can't do that, but I guess there are a lot of parameters, so it's fair enough. So I'm just going to go and load a pad that I created, which is here, which is very nice. Just very simple, didn't take long at all. I haven't got much going on it, I'll admit. But one thing I did want to show, actually, I did map aftertouch, poly aftertouch to filter B1 frequency, just so you know it does work. One thing that is very cool with this though is I've got a super comb filter here which is kind of cool, but what you can do, which is, even though we can't do MIDI mapping, we can create new envelopes straight from the front panel and also modulation settings such as macros. I'm going to go to filter frequency, create an envelope, and I'm going to turn it into an LFO. And I've immediately got that, or we could just have it as a... And that, as far as I can tell, is unlimited. We could just keep going with this and add, you know, I could add another one for this. I could add, okay, yeah, let's say we've done that. You know, you could just keep going. There's no, as far as I can tell, limitation to the number of envelopes that you can add, which is one of the sort of Absynth superpowers. And I mean, there are synths that allow you to do that, but this, I think, was one of the first that gave you really sort of unlimited amounts of modulation very, very quickly. So that's actually quite a powerful feature and something that shouldn't be underestimated at all. Another thing I noticed, certainly on this, I couldn't find a setting for it. Maybe it's different in NKS. If you see the knob here is this way round and it jumps, it doesn't sort of wait to go through that. There may be a setting that I'm missing there. This is quite nice. You can see the animation of the oscillators there. That's quite nice, isn't it? Very sort of ethereal. I'm getting sort of mist and bright sunlight through the mist. But it's a weird, it's not in the morning. That's what I'm getting anyway. Something quite magical going on. Yeah, that's nice. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Brian Eno, goodness, that's pretty impressive. They've got these people to do patches for these. And these are the Absynth 6 ones. The one thing I should mention is 4, 5 and 6, they're, you know, you can load those patches in as well. Apparently they're absolutely, you know, fine. I mean, I couldn't tell you because I'm not really an Absynth user. Well, that's dreamy, isn't it? And we've got the Easterizer here. There's a lot of information on this screen. I mean, it's still quite dense, if I'm honest. I find it not the easiest to understand, but this is, again, it's very atmospheric, isn't it? There's a sort of sci-fi aspect to this. Sort of slightly Revenant style tones with this one. Let's have a look. Big sounds, but impressive that they've got these people to do these. Let's have another, just do another Brian Eno. Not often I get to critique his patches. Of a similar slow pad type of. Seem very atmospheric. Let's go back to the browser. Let's switch off favourites because it may be that these are the ones that I've just. Synth lead, Brian Drill. Sorry, Brian Drill. That's Daniel Rusko, not Brian. Brian Drill sounds like a pretty good patch name, though, doesn't it? Let's try this one. Got a certain amount of girth to it. Okay, interesting. And I imagine that's using yeah, they're looping envelopes, but they're also very slightly different shapes. Interesting. Back to the browser. Let's try synth. We've already seen. This is another Caitlin Aurelia Smith, which I think is really. It's a sort of. It's like a cello, isn't it? Is there any aftertouch on this one? Let's have a look at the assign. There appears to be, though I'm not really hearing anything going on there. quite nice. Let's have a look. Bowed String Synth by Spectralisk. Let's come back here again. I'm getting some quite subtle off the touch there. There's a sort of bamboo trem vibe to this one, isn't there? Okay, let's have another look. Let's see what else. Piano keys digital. Let's see what that's like. This is reminding me of sort of wave. Yeah, okay. All right, let's have another look. Let's just keep scrolling down. Synth Pad Other by Empty Vessel. This is interesting. There's a sort of note of sinisterness to it, isn't there? Quite like that. Sounds Custo. Soundscape's peaceful. Some quite sort of slow. Let me have a look. Spectral expansion. Maybe we should look at some of these. Oh, there's some patches by Brian Clevenger himself. That's a nice. Sounds like an angry wasp, sort of stuck in a space-sized jam jar. Again, it's very ethereal, isn't it? This is sort of giving me space vibes with the sunlight pinging off you're just seeing the sparkle of light of a planet in front of the sun, revealing some kind of beautiful floating meteor shower that's been discovered after a particularly long voyage, and the travellers are weary and they just seem to be very delighted to have finally got somewhere where they might be able to take a break, have a stroll. It's like a kind of like a space lay-by service station. No, perhaps not. I digress. So let's have a look at the patches. Let me see. Browser. Let's see. Let's see if we've got any other. I haven't heard Klaus Bates yet. Watch the look. That's the mod wheel I'm pressing here. That's nice. It's interesting. I wonder what's going on there. I think there might be. Oh yeah, look. I'm guessing that oscillator B amplifier is what's giving that sort of nat sort of style. Lovely. There's a wub if ever I heard one. Yeah, like that. I've got a dry vibe. What's going on with that one? Let's just have a quick look. Wow, 2 FM oscillators. You can switch the modules on and off quite easily from it. Oh yeah, some sort of lead line coming up there. Let's see if we can find, maybe have a listen to some Absynth 5. These are going to be some classic patches, I suppose. Absynth Legacy? Maybe some of these are going to be some real... Oh my lord. I do notice that the macros aren't all mapped. I mean, I've done this, but there doesn't seem to be a way of sort of globally mapping those macros. So there's some sort of there's a few little bits and pieces where you just think, oh, it'd be nice if it could do this. I mean, ditto, I think I might have mentioned this in the patch. It'd be nice to be able to just sort of right click and kind of go MIDI learn something for that control, wiggle it, and that's that. And then some synths will have the ability to make those those controller assignments per patch or global. Those are the sort of things. It just feels like there's a little bit of extra finessing to go. I mean, and this interface is, while it's a lot better, it still feels like it's got its basis in Absynth. Well, I suppose it would. And so sometimes it does feel like there's a little bit too much of this business going on, particularly with all of these sort of drop down. That's an interesting one. Okay, let's get back to some more legacy patches. Air Massive. One finger ambient dub. I'll try. That sounds like resonance. What on earth is going on here? Ah, there we go. There we go. These are more like function generators, because they will do multi-point generators, but they will also do sort of looping functions as well. So that's pretty powerful. And I think that was one of the sort of defining characteristics of Absynth in the first place, was this sort of cross-modulation between, cross-pollination between function generators and envelopes. I think maybe they were one of the first to do that. Let's have a look. Let's try a drive. Not sure about that. That sounds a bit weird. Gosh, there are 2,000 patches here, so there's plenty to go. I mean, and it will load. If you have used Absynth in the past and you've got patches, it will load 4, 5, and 6 in. Let's. What happens if we go to Absynth 4? What's some of those patches like? Okay, not so. Oh, this is interesting. I'm getting underwater, maybe sunken spaceship or sunken vessel. Divers are going in, and it's all sort of there's lots of tanks and things. And it's all giving me very similar vibes, which is sort of like sci-fi, vibey sci-fi with Spielberg-type lights through mist. Oh, this is more of a traditional thing. Oh, these seem to be mapped differently. That's interesting. Let's like mutate that. Okay, maybe that's not. Women with Symbols. Okay, Dennis DeSantis. I'm pretty sure I recognise that name. This is some sort of ice cave, isn't it? Where there are maybe the preserved remains of beautiful alien structures being seen for the first time. I haven't watched any sci-fi over Christmas. I don't know where I'm getting all this imagery from. But I can understand why maybe this was very popular amongst sound designers and media composers, because a lot of these patches you won't have necessarily heard. That's quite pleasing. Wormhole. Andrew Sauter. Okay, let's see. This sounds like a kind of an alarm or a flying thing, just sort of. This would sound great in surround. Sounds like there's some FM going on with that one. If I hit sustain and move my mouse around, let's have a look. No, double oscillators these are. Wave shaper and pipe. Don't touch that! Oops, sorry, I bashed my mic. Okay, let's see. I mean, I could go on for ages, couldn't I? Because there are so many patches in here, 2,000 plus patches. I think if you're looking to get this as an upgrade, you already own Absynth. It's 89 quid for the upgrade. I mean, I can't pretend that it's still not a little impenetrable. It's certainly much better than it was. And there's a few things that I just think need to be sort of neatened up, the way that the macros work for maybe non-NKS stuff. Some of the assignment feels like it's a bit clunky. It would be good to see that sort of taken from the front panel or from the individual items. So, and there doesn't seem to be much polyphonic aftertouch. There's MPE capability. I haven't hooked up to an MPE one this time. But you can buy it also, I think it's 189 UK if you're buying it from scratch. It'll probably be involved in some of those Native Instruments complete collections and whatnot. So if it's something that is floating your boat, or you've got it's been a while since you've used Absynth and you really wanted to kind of get down to using it again with everything sort of up to date and working with modern computers, then maybe this is the way to go. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching. Let me see if I can find another Brian Eno patch to fill. Pulsing Shimmers. We'll play out with this. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you have a great 2026. See you next time.